Hello and welcome again to Thread Sketching in Action. I'm Deborah Wirsu of deborahwirsu.com, and today I'm bringing you a dual-purpose piece covering the Thread Sketching in Action and Journey Through Landscape series. This piece very nearly didn't get off the ground as it was riddled with difficulties and problems from the start and ended up becoming something of a comedy of errors. As you can see, I've hurried the video clips along just a bit, as however much people like watching, I'm sure you're not going to sit and watch for 3 hours while I work. Yes, this little picture took me 3 hours, including problems and a coffee break, and it's only the size of a sheet of printer paper. The design began life as a pencil drawing of a well-known landmark building, the Flinders Street railway station in my hometown of Melbourne. Melbourne, Australia, that is, not Florida. After transferring my drawing to fabric, I stabilised the work and loaded my machine with black thread to begin stitching. When I stitch a design like this, I need to constantly rotate the work so that I can see where I'm going, so I do apologise for all the flitting around. It was at about this point, not all that long after starting really, that I realised the complexity of what I'd taken on. What on earth was I thinking? Working a design like this, at this size, was a crazy idea, yet I was determined to push on. There were, however, times when it nearly defeated me. But I can be very stubborn. About an hour into the piece, the first problem arose. Not a huge problem, simply an empty bobbin, but it was a good time for a coffee break. Little did I know that the problems were only just beginning. Yes, I too can have bad days at the sewing machine. I have no doubt now that you're wanting to know what went wrong. Well, I was plagued by broken and shredding thread. And here is one of the offending articles. Each time this happened, and there were quite a number, I racked my brains about why it was happening, as it's not a common problem for me usually. First, I changed the needle in case that was the problem. Then I tried a different thread in the bobbin. But nothing worked, just more broken thread. In the end, I decided that it was probably friction causing the thread to shred. I used, as I usually do, rayon thread to stitch this picture. But what I did differently, however, was to use a piece of old curtain fabric as the background, and it dawned on me that this fabric had an element of synthetic in it. I could be wrong, but I believe the problems were caused by friction between the synthetic thread and the synthetic fabric, accentuated by the friction in the speed I was stitching. Perhaps the needle was hot. Each time the thread broke, I would gnash my teeth, rethread the machine, and ponder whether to abandon the entire project. But of course, the more I stitched, the closer to the finish line I became, so I kept ploughing on, stubbornly, not allowing it to defeat me. I really do enjoy urban thread sketching, but this was indeed a challenge almost too far. By the time I got to stitching the electric tramline cables that crisscross the street, I was totally over this thread sketch. And yet I'd reached the bit where I could not be slapdash in my stitching, as these lines needed to be somewhat straight. So with one final push to the end, I finally made it to the last stitch. After all the drama, I'm quite pleased with the end result. I like the sketchy pen drawing appearance, and I do believe it is actually recognisable for what it is. I hope you've enjoyed joining my day of disaster. If you're interested in learning more about thread sketching, please visit my website at deborahwirsu.com and check out my online courses at learn.deborahwirsu.com. I hope next time to bring you something a little less fraught with problems. Until then, thanks for watching